All right, so what do you do about bubbles that build up on a epoxy project? In this case, this is a guitar, and I did a blue epoxy, blue, and then I wanted to top it off with clear. And as you can see, massive bubbles, big bubbles, all over. They go all the way down to the surface, and then the worst type of bubbles are those little microscopic bubbles that no matter how many times you hit it with a heat gun or flame, it does not come off. And I know what I did wrong. What you have to do is you have to remove all the epoxy back down to the walnut or whatever material you're using. Okay, the bubbles are all gone. So I set the router to take off the epoxy. And if you see here, that's the depth I took. And I didn't take all the epoxy off because the blue side here was no bubbles because I poured epoxy on top of epoxy. And I also left a little bit here because this is the height I need. I need 1 3/4 inch. So I kept this. It's just less I have to mask off. So now I'm just going to mask off with packaging tape this side and the top side so it'll all be like a pool. And then I'll do what I didn't do the first time, and that's seal it with a thin layer of epoxy resin and then pop those air bubbles, and that should take care of it. But what we have here, I sanded it. After the router, I went 120 grit belt sander, then to 80 grit palm sander, then 150, then 220. Then I hit it with compressor air and knocked down the dust with the tack cloth. So everything should be good and ready to go. I even exposed a few, there's some open little air bubbles that were there, so those will get filled and you'll never even see them. All right, so let's tape it up and put on the sealer. All right, I'm gloving up. I'm prepped. I got the sides taped with just normal packaging tape. It's on there pretty solid, except for this corner. All right, mixed up some epoxy. Thin pour, of course, that's all I use. But it goes a little bit quicker. And it's 102 or 3 degrees here in Las Vegas. All right, again, we're just sealing the top. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit on here. Stop there. We're just gonna coat it. Just gonna coat it all. We just need to seal the. It's not, then this table's not flat. Again, we don't need to worry about that because we're not pouring the final coat yet. That might have been enough. Just rubbing it all in. Maybe a tad more. I'm even going over the blue stuff that doesn't have any bubbles. There we go. This is what I should have done the first time. Okay, it's been a couple hours and it's probably 90% dry. And if you notice, no bubbles. All right, here we go. I poured up epoxy. I got 16 ounces on this pour to try to get to get it up to the right level, which is 1 3/4 inches, which is right there and right there. I thought that was a bubble. Was that a bubble? All right, here we go. I got it all taped around. Concern is this enough, or do I gotta quickly mix up another batch? The table is flat, checked it both. Okay, that is definitely not enough. Not enough. All right. Quickly. All right. Second batch is in. So far, so good. You can see the line where the old meets the new. I don't know if I'm still too low or too high, but we'll find out soon enough. Looks like a little. So close. That's a little low. All right. Well, let's see if the bubbles show up. All right, next morning. Turned out almost perfect. About a millimeter, not high enough there. Not a problem. I'll just sand it. There was 2 areas there was bubbles, like right around here. One made an impression, like there were big bubbles, not the annoying little ones. So I popped them all evening, and one is totally taken care of, but the other one left a mark. So sand, I'm gonna have to patch it with a little clear epoxy. But there it is. That's how you get rid of air bubbles, is that you treat the slab with a little epoxy first.